Remember when we just talked about the football? No, me neither. Today we're talking about a statement issued by Anel 𝗍𝗿𝗲𝗍. What we're about to get into involves family feuds, misinformation, accusations of inadequate medical care at the highest international level, black magic, and personal attacks. Let's get into it.
𝗚𝗿𝗿𝗶𝗹𝗵. 𝗚𝗿𝗿𝗿𝗵.
Bosnian blade Anel 𝗍𝗿𝗲𝗍 has not been without his own controversy in his time at Sheffield United. He's on occasion come under fire from fans and pundits. He's also been one of the most successful signings in defence in recent years. He has delighted supporters with his commitment, attitude, his sense of fun and ability on the ball. Not something you can always say about a centre-back. From his first match, many fell in love with Anel. Indeed, his first season at Sheffield United, you'd call it a triumph. He also had to endure a nasty case of glandular fever, but he also enjoyed personal highlights, not just on the pitch, but also off the pitch with the birth of his first child. His first season with United in the Premier League was not so much a fairy tale as at times a nightmare, as it was for many of the squad. Now he's performing again, playing with a smile on his face, and he needs our backing because off the field, it hasn't been quite the story many may have imagined over the past few. Anel has today announced that he is stepping back from the Bosnian national football team, something reported on Twitter by 𝗣𝗿𝗲𝗍 following an interview with 𝗲𝗵𝗻 𝗵𝗃𝗃, I hope I pronounced that name correctly, from N1. And there's an excellent article in the Sheffield Star from Danny Hall, which I do encourage you to read. For the past few months, we've been hearing that teams have been interested in signing Sheffield United's 25-year-old defender. There was even mention of certain teams, Napoli, Ipswich, and Wolves. Anel has largely remained silent, allowing wild speculation, suggestions that he was maybe even disillusioned, wanting away, and not putting in 100%. When Anel was out of the Norwich City away game with illness, I think a lot of transfer-weary Blades fans expected that to be a case of the old Bt flu, which we'd heard about before when James Beattie was out, supposedly unwell, and then was sold to Stoke. So I don't think you can blame a lot of fans for thinking, well, here we go again, and that Anel would be sold within the hour. But Anel really was unwell and recovered superbly to play one of his best matches in a long time in red and white in that home win against Watford. I actually commented on his clear commitment after the match in our match reaction, which is still available, as are all our videos and audio podcasts, including the interview we did with Anel a couple of seasons ago, which is still well worth a watch. I think it shows his more playful side, his willingness to engage with fans, and most importantly for this today, his passion for United, which, as we'll get to, clearly hasn't waned. It was really good to see this season he's been driving at the field again to beat the opposition press, and he's showing his excellent sweeping abilities, particularly, as I've already mentioned, against Watford. He sprinted back, you might remember, to deny 𝗲𝗏𝗏𝗏, the Watford striker, a one-on-one chance with our new goalkeeper, Michael Cooper. It was an excellent tackle from Anel. More of that, please, and hopefully after this, we are only talking about positive news both on and off the field for our young defender. Bosnia, Anel's national side, lost 5-2 to the Netherlands without him and drew 0-0 away in Hungary. He'd returned home, leading some to spread rumour on social media that Anel had gone AWOL, something he was quick to counter. In fact, his national team manager, 𝗍𝗫 also a former 𝗫𝗫𝗏𝗃 striker, said that Anel 𝗍𝗿𝗏𝗍𝗏 was injured and expressed a desire to leave. That was the quote. And when you say a player is going to leave the camp of his national side, that doesn't always go down well with fans. And it did actually lead to, according to Anel, abuse aimed at Anel and his family. And 𝗍𝗿𝗏𝗍𝗏 said, if I didn't want to play for the national team, I would simply call the coach, tell him no thank you, and not go. I travelled to Eindhoven. Immediately upon arrival, I told the medical staff that I had a bad feeling in my hamstring. They said, okay, and took me to an ultrasound. The Dutch doctor at the ultrasound said that she saw a small injury there, and I wanted to do an MRI scan to make sure nothing is broken. They didn't want to give me an MRI scan. I kept training every day and I could never sprint. Last training over there, I did a small sprint and felt it go bad. So the medical team wanted to keep doing what they were doing and do their therapy work with me every day, which did not help at all. For them then to deem me fit to play without doing a proper check is very unserious and amateur level. The last time I was deemed fit to play by the medical team was when I was injured before the Luxembourg game, and they made me do so. They made me do some sprinting before that game, which resulted in me getting more seriously injured. Yes, I did speak to 𝗍𝗵𝗲𝗍, director of the national team. We had a good talk. I told him I won't be of any use here, and I would like to get properly checked and start my rehab as fast as possible. And he agreed. And the reason I did not respond to them after I came back to Sheffield was because they said to me one thing and to the media differently. At the end, it was a correct decision by me as they've properly checked me here in Sheffield, started my rehab, start light training on Wednesday, and if it progresses well, I will be playing on Friday. End quote. Yes, Friday, of course, United travel to Hull City, and it would be brilliant to get the Bosnian back. And for all Unitedites in attendance to show him some love. He's clearly not in the best place at the moment, and it isn't just with the national team where things have been strained. Anel said about his decision to step away from the Bosnian national team, at least in the short term. That's what I'm taking from this, and he has perhaps left the door ajar. The whole country has come after me. This is the quote. My wife and son, extremely bad insults and abuse. You can write it all to me, but to go after my family, no, no, no. It was always my dream to play for the national team ever since I was a kid. The biggest reason I chose to play for Bosnia was because I could relate to our people, our fans. I used to think we have the best fans, always supporting us players when we win, draw, or lose, always loud and singing. But unfortunately, after this past week, to attack my personal life like this, thousands of messages saying all the worst things you can imagine. As I said, the biggest reason I chose to play for Bosnia and Herzegovina was because of our people. Now I have no reason to come and play anymore. There are many things wrong in the national team, but I didn't think I'd stop because of the fans. I do not have an ego. I do not think I'm Sergio Ramos. I do not want any special treatment. I value my peace in my life, and this drama has been happening too many times now. I do not have the energy or the will to continue with this drama anymore. The best memory after the birth of my son was the first time hearing the national anthem in my first game against Northern Ireland. I won't be playing, at least in the near future, for the national team. I wish all the players and the new coaching staff all the best. End quote. Anel's father, 𝗍𝗵𝗲𝗍, has been speaking to the media recently, saying that Anel's wife, Mariana, was the reason for his decision to withdraw from the national side. Anel, one would imagine, probably felt boxed into a corner. The abuse he's just shared there and his wife has been getting is upsetting to hear about. However, I would just say we haven't heard all of Anel's father's side, and I'd imagine he will probably make further statements. I'm just relaying what has been reported from both. I'm not taking a side. Anel said, I do not want to make this public, nor do I think it should be public, but it's reached a point where I cannot ignore it anymore. The only thing you want as a son from your father is support and proudness. Unfortunately, I very rarely got it. When I did get, most of the time, it was manipulation, lies, deceit, and abuse almost every day. It doesn't matter if I don't succeed where I want to go in my career. I will do everything correctly and have pride in the hard work I do every day. He also has stated many times that I want to leave Sheffield United and that I do not want to be here, which has hurt my reputation over here, which is completely false. It is a city and club that has given me my best memories in my life, including the birth of my son. Sorry, I'm actually getting emotional reading this. I have a very strong faith with Allah, and I can never be taken from me, and that can never be taken from me. I will do everything I can to protect my family and people I care about from the evil people like him. Sorry, this is, I'm still reading this quote, but this is actually very sad to read this when you hear about this from someone obviously you should care about. So Anel obviously feels this way, and we'll carry on with the quote. And to say my wife has done black magic on me is very insulting to me and my wife especially. She has been amazing. It is very hard to find a woman who will take care of you as good as she does, and I'm very happy my son has such an incredible mother. And then to say she doesn't let me go to international, this is very funny and just shows what level of intelligence this liar has. There are many football wives who don't care about their husband's football, but she has never missed a match. Even when she was 9 months pregnant, she came to my match just a few days before she gave birth to my son. She is my biggest supporter, and to say that she doesn't let me go is just silly. But what do I expect from a narcissist? I am very disappointed, but not surprised that it has come to this. I never wanted it to be public, but when you have a father who actively tries to control you, push you down, and hurt your reputation, I needed to do this. He is the type of man who can show his power to women, but never have the balls to confront another man. I have a very good relationship with my mother, and I take care of her financially. So to say I don't care about my parents is a straight up lie. I just don't care about him. I mean, these are really strong quotes. I'll continue with the quotes. He is not a man. He goes after people I care about every time there is something wrong. I am not even going to go into the stuff he did when I was younger, but if you believe his interview, maybe we should interview my mother too about what she has to say about him as a person and father. There are terrible things he has done to people I care about, which I will not mention here. There are many reasons why I broke off contact with him. But he's your dad. Life is short, people have said. Trust me, I have many times to fix things. Ignore what he has done, and I've tried every time to fix it. I go back to square one, and it doesn't change at all, not even slightly. There have been many times where he has insulted me publicly, and since I got married, my wife too, which he is only doing to make me mad and get a reaction from me. Without exposing too much, he got offered money and a house in Italy if he convinced me to join an agency who does shady business and everything under the table. I am a person who would never ever take part in something like this. Getting sold to a club just because your agent made the deal and people involved will get money under the table just for me to go and sit on the bench and not do everything properly is a strong no for me. And he obviously only cares about money and himself. So that he has it good. End quote. I mean, you can draw your own conclusions. That is Anel's thoughts. As I say, that's his side. And it makes you think about what we've been reading about speculation linking him with likes of Napoli over the past few months. And I think a lot of Blades hearing that will feel that sometimes we've misconstrued things, and perhaps it would be good, as I mentioned before, if we get behind Anel and hopefully we are putting to bed any kind of speculation that he doesn't want to be at Sheffield United. Reading some of that really got to me, and I'm sure you as well. Not easy to hear. Actually, I was thinking this when I read this first this morning, that this is actually just a really sad story, and one that I wish we weren't talking about. I think it's never nice when you have these sorts of things in families, and obviously, as Anel said, not the sort of thing you want to make public. And I think the only way I can end this is just to say we'll leave it there and wish Anel and his family all the very best going forward.